When the world was in need, society was given an outlet. A game, an escape from reality. Animal Crossing: New Horizons.
Let's humanize them! Hi, my name is Kit, and I have way too many hours in Animal Crossing. Seriously, it's over 1,000 hours by now, which I'm pretty sure is over double of my second most played game. So, obviously, I've had my fair share of experience in this fictional world. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with this franchise, Animal Crossing is a Nintendo game series that features the player being the only human moving into a town full of cutesy humanoid animals. In the latest feature, New Horizons, the game is changed up a bit to allow the player more freedom, such as terraforming, layout, and complete control as to who resides there. Also, it's an island this time! Almost all of my villagers were handpicked for Sunny Bay, which is my second and current island. My Jack starter, Tank, was just too cute not to keep, and I came across Meringue on a mystery island and decided to take her because I really like her design too. All of the others were either villagers who were on my first islands or the cutest ones in their personality type. With playing this game so much, I have grown quite attached to these characters and how they interact with one another on my island. Yes, I know, they are coded with very few personality types and repetitive dialogue, even when talking to each other, but it was so easy to grow attached to this game, considering the circumstances at the time of release. With this attachment came some personal characterization and headcanons. This was most definitely not helped by my ambition to humanize my villagers, since I had to think of them as characters rather than NPCs. But in this way, I also headcanoned the ways that many of them see or relate to one another, and I made it into a handy-dandy little diagram. Let's take a super-duper quick look before we get started. Okay, first things first. These two? Wives. This is important to their human designs. Going into the details of why I headcanon all of these would take way too much time away from the actual art though, so I just labeled them accordingly. Feel free to pause if you want to read the specifics. The basics, however, is that there are 2 couples on the island, a few besties, many friendships or colleagues, and a few familial connections. It kinda looks like a wonky spiderweb, but most of these were formed from the dialogue within the game or from the villagers' canonical interests, so it was actually pretty easy to come up with these ideas. Now that the preamble is done and over with, let's get into the art! My first humanized villager was Willow, who is a snooty sheep who dreams of being a designer. For my initial sketch, I knew I wanted to make her glamorous, so I had to figure out how to curate an outfit just for her. I also knew that I wanted to give her blonde curls, but I think they accidentally came out more wavy than curly. My bad! I've been trying out a new rendering style lately, so I wasn't really the most comfortable with my shading at this point, and there was a lot of trial and error involved. It's pretty interesting to look back at it now and see how consistent I kept it or what I ended up changing later. I knew that I wanted a lot of pink in the design to reflect her in-game appearance. I made her horns into a little beret, but I also incorporated the spirals into little earrings for her too. I gave her gold jewelry and faux leather accessories, and kept her clothes very business casual with a cream shirt, pink skirt and sweater, and pink acrylic nails to match Sheep Willow's hooves. Yes, she does coordinate her outfits around her nails. I also gave her theater-like makeup, which is interesting for me since I don't usually put makeup on characters. I wanted the purple and pink eyeshadow to match her outfit, and a bold red lip to make it pop. Finally, her opal necklace was just a fun thing I added for me. A bit of self-indulgence to render an opal as a treat. And that's Willow! I like to imagine that this is the outfit she strolls up to a client's house wearing. I also thought up ages for these characterizations, and I think Willow would be somewhere in her mid-30s and would want to be open about it to stomp on the stigma around aging, but she still misses being in her 20s. And with that, it's time for our next villager! Ruby, a peppy rabbit villager, was next up to be humanized. While she is very space-themed in the game, her goal is apparently to be a photographer. I didn't end up changing much from my initial plan, just small details like the camera model or omitting a space pin from her bag. This is also, I believe, my first time designing a character with albinism, so I made sure to do my research since I know many people with albinism have vision problems. From what I've read, vision issues caused by albinism is a wide spectrum just as any other disability is. I'm not going to pinpoint exactly where my interpretation of Ruby is on that spectrum, but she can use a camera without a vision aid and she is not legally blind. I think she likely uses glasses or contacts when leaving the house, but she is likely so comfortable in her own space that she can navigate around her room confidently and can give herself a bit of a break. As for her lack of melanin, I was sure to give her very light skin and hair, as well as eyelashes and eyebrows, and eyes that appear red due to the lack of pigmentation. To make her match Bunny Ruby more, I gave her freckles, little buck teeth, and braided her hair into 2 thick braids that look like floppy bunny ears. As for the outfit, I wanted to give her a young, almost casually earthy vibe. I made her shirt a darker teal than Bunny Ruby's, gave her some adorable denim overalls, brown shoes, and a red camera bag to contrast all the blues. On her camera bag, I also gave her a little patch that resembles the one on Bunny Ruby's shirt. I think the hardest part for this design was the denim jeans, since I didn't really know how to make those. If I'm being honest, I tried to replicate it later and totally failed, so I guess I just don't even remember how I did it in the first place. Ta-da! Here's humanized Ruby. She's 26 years old, but she still gets stopped for ID constantly. On to the next one. Next up, we have Stella, a sheep with a normal personality type. She loves to read and dreams of being a professor. For my humanization, I like to imagine that she is a teacher who does her lessons remotely through online classes. Stella is my favorite villager, so I really wanted to do her justice here. I gave her a strawberry necklace to match her wife, as well as a wedding ring, obviously. I also gave her the same glasses that I gave her in-game because I think they are just too cute. I wanted to give her a teacher-like outfit, so I took the magenta tone from her wool as a sweater, and the flowy shirt under it is the same color as her horns. I took Sheep Stella's sweater design and made it into a headband on the human design, which I think really worked. I also gave her hair a pinkish tone to match the color palette. This design went through a lot of revisions to get to a spot I was proud of, but I'm very happy with the point she got to. Since I kept this one pretty simple, there's not much else to talk about, but I think that simplicity suits her character. And here she is! Human Stella is around 32 years old and spends a lot of her time either picnicking with Meringue or reading at the Sunny Bay Library. Speaking of Meringue, she is also a normal type villager and is a rhinoceros whose design resembles a strawberry shortcake. Of course, her dream is to be a pastry chef, and how could I design her as anything else? So far, I'm pretty sure Meringue is the character whose outfit changed the least in my designs. It just fits too well! I kept her outfit pretty similar to the in-game one, just giving her pants and shoes, and I also had her hold a strawberry cake that looks like what the in-game Meringue could be based on. I figured keeping the outfit the same was a good choice, since it just really works. Most of my design aspects came from the actual human part of the design rather than the outfit. As a rhino-based character, I wanted to give her a body type that is muscular but chubby, but the outfit doesn't show it all too well. Her hair hides it a bit, but she also does have strawberry earrings to match Stella's necklace, and I like to think that they were bought in a set together and she gave Stella the necklace. She also has a bead bracelet, probably made by Rosie in exchange for some tarts, which has strawberry colors. Her final accessory, aside from her wedding ring kinda hidden on her left hand, is the flower in her hair to match Stella's headband. I think the hardest part of the design was her face and body type in the original concept, and I am a bit disappointed that it didn't translate as well as I had hoped in the final. There's always next time, I suppose. Human Meringue is probably around 36, and her job is a professional chef who specializes in pastries and baked goods. She makes everyone's birthday cakes, and she is always getting Stella to try her experimental recipes. Now, without further ado, the star of Sunny Bay! The final villager for this video is Rosie, a peppy cat who loves karaoke and dreams to be a movie star. For her human design, I based her on various K-pop groups, and I think she would be a music star instead. Initially, I wanted to move her dress design to her skirt, but I figured out later that it needed to be the shirt to push the focal point closer to her face. Then a friend of mine helped me to figure out the other parts of the design, such as colors, textures, and details such as adding accessories to her hair. I knew right away that Rosie needed twin buns in her hair to resemble cat ears, and I also knew that I wanted her hair to have some gradients to resemble the different shades of blue and purple on Cat Rosie. I based her outfit on various K-pop girl groups, but I'm not knowledgeable enough in that sphere to recognize who exactly. I already mentioned how I turned her dress into a crop top, but I also gave her a denim-like skirt, stockings, kitten heel boots to pay homage to Cat Rosie, sheer gloves, and translucent heart earrings. I also gave her microphone cat ears and a little face because Rosie would definitely have something that adorable. I like to think that she made her matching bracelet and hair accessories herself, and that she likes to make bead jewelry for all her friends and colleagues. I had a lot of trouble with this design, but honestly, I think it's my favorite so far. The outfit was definitely my weak spot in this process, and I think I had to put the drawing down for a day when I realized that I needed to redo the checkered pattern again on her shirt. Also, fun fact, this is my second major art project depicting Rosie, and in the first one I didn't even try to make that outfit in oil paint. There was no way. And here she is! Rosie is only 22 but is doing very well for herself in her music career already. And that's all the designs I have for this video. Here they are all together. I plan on drawing my other 5 villagers at some point, but I can't promise a deadline for that since this one took me so long. I have a few things planned first and other priorities, obviously. This has been so fun so far. I definitely started with my easier designs, so I am a bit nervous about tackling the rest of my villagers, especially Rolf. Rosie is definitely my favorite design from this batch, but I love how they all turned out so much. Oh, also, one last thing. Look what I got! Someone made fan art for me! Thank you so much. I love it, and I am so grateful that you like my content enough to want to take time out of your day to make something just for me. And I suppose that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!